Vladimir Komarov was a Soviet test pilot, aerospace engineer, and cosmonaut. In October 1964, he commanded Voskhod 1, the first spaceflight to carry more than one crew member. He became the first Soviet cosmonaut to fly in space twice, when he was selected as the solo pilot of Soyuz 1, its first crewed test flight. A parachute failure caused his Soyuz capsule to crash into the ground after entry of 24 April 1967, making him the first human to die in spaceflight. Voskhod, second series of manned Soviet spacecraft, following the triumph of the Voskhod launchings that had put the first human in space. The Soviet adapted the Voskhod so it could carry more than one crew member. On October 12, 1964, Voskhod 1 carried 3 cosmonauts, Commander Vladimir Komarov, engineer, and Konstantin Pyokotistov, and Dr. Boris Yegorov into Earth orbit. The Voskhod was 950 kilograms or 2,100 pounds heavier than Voskhod and featured many technical improvements. However, it was not larger than the Voskhod spacecraft, so in order to accommodate the Voskhod 1, crew new spacesuits were worn in flight. Re-entry procedures were also modified. For the Voskhod flight, the pilots of the Voskhod series had the parachute from their spacecraft, but the Voskhod cosmonaut remained in their ship, making a hard surface landing that involved the use of drogues. On April 24, 1967, Soviet cosmonaut Vladimir Komarov is killed when his parachute fails to deploy during his spacecraft's landing. Komarov was testing the spacecraft Soyuz 1 in the midst of the space race between the United States and the Soviet Union. Earlier in 1967, the US space program had experienced its own strategy. Gus Grissom, Edward White, and Roger Caffey, NASA astronauts in the Apollo program, were killed in the fire during tests on the ground. Komarov, a fighter pilot and aeronautical engineer, had made his first space trip in 1964, 3 years before the doomed 1967 voyage. After 24 hours and 16 orbits of the Earth, Komarov was scheduled to re-enter the atmosphere but ran into difficulty handling the vessel and was able to fire the rocket brakes. It took 2 more trips around the Earth before the cosmonaut could manage re-entry. When Soyuz 1 reached an altitude of 23,000 feet, a parachute was supposed to deploy, bringing Komarov safely to Earth. However, the lines of the chute had gotten tangled during the craft's re-entry difficulties and there was no backup chute. Komarov plunged to the ground and was killed. There was a vast public mourning of Komarov in Moscow, and his ashes were buried in the wall of the Kremlin. Sadly, Komarov's wife had not been told of the Soyuz 1 launch until after Komarov was already in orbit, and did not get to say goodbye to her husband. Despite the dangers, both the Soviet Union and the US continued their space exploration program. The space vehicle is shoddily constructed, running dangerously low on the fuel. Its parachutes thought no one knows this won't work, and the cosmonaut Vladimir Komarov is about to literally crash full speed into Earth, his body turning molten on impact as he heads to his doom. US listening posts in Turkey hear him crying in the rage, cursing the people who had put him inside the botched spaceship.
Человечеству путь коммунизму. Летчик космонавт Комаро. Коммунизму. Народом нашей Родины, прокладывающий человечеству путь коммунизму. Летчик космонавт Комаро.